I'm gonna share it to a few groups. And then mine, if you want to look for mine, it's just Noel.
Uh-huh.
It's on my main page. So if you put in Noel, middle initial A, and then last name Strane, it'll pop up there.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, here we go.
And I put the little link if anybody sees this and they want to actually join us where we are and ask questions, and they can.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to share it to my timeline and in my group. Okay, cool. So I think I'm shared everywhere as well.
Awesome. Okay. And then I'm going to, because I'm on my computer, I'm going to stream this on Instagram as well. It's just like pointing to me.
I love it. Stream away.
Yeah. Figure, give people a chance. They're, whatever they're doing right now, if they catch it and it uplifts them and they don't have to wait for this to come out on recording, then it's fun.
Yeah, cool.
Groups. Okay. Hey, Facebook, we're going to get started here in a second. Just let me stream this on Instagram for some people. 1 sec.
My arsenal of beverages.
It's been my favorite little item. You guys need a tripod. You guys get these on Amazon for like $3 or $5. It's like my favorite little item. All right, let's get started. Awesome. And even though I am in Miami and it's warm, I just got out of the shower, so I have all this water dripping off of me is shower water and not sweat, but I might sweat. It is warm in here right now. No complaints. All right, we are recording. When I introduce you, Sean Engel is how I pronounce your last name? Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then as far as like your title, when I'm saying Sean is A, what do you want me to say?
You can go with professional witch and brand strategist.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. So you'll see, you guys never hear this part at the beginning, but the Enlightened Conversations podcast is super just go with the flow. So the only thing that is scripted is at the beginning I'm going to ask Sean to share, who she is, and I just needed to know how to introduce her, and then from there we're just going to flow this wherever we flow. So this will be fun. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to an awesome guest. We have Sean Engel, who I didn't even ask what part of the world she's in, but we'll find out soon where she is. And I came across Sean's Instagram page just a few days ago and was really inspired to reach out to her. I saw the cool things she was sharing with her audience and knew that she had a passion for uplifting and inspiring people and knew we would have a fun conversation. And she was happy to chat with me as well. So we're going to have fun today. And Sean is a professional witch and a business mentor. Is that what you told me to say? I think that's what you said. A business strategist, mentor. She's helping people to be able to create lives that they actually enjoy and want to live. And I always have a great appreciation for any human that's doing that. So without further ado for me, I'm going to introduce you guys to Sean. And if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. I love being able to share with new audiences. But as said, my name is Sean Engel. I am the founder of Witchy Wisdoms, which is an online spiritual platform. I founded that brand just about 4 years ago now. Excuse me. It started out as a blog that was marrying tarot with self-help and things that I was learning in therapy, and has now snowballed into multiple different projects. I'm a published author now 3 times over. I have a podcast network called the Boss Mystic Podcast Network, which houses both my podcast, True Crime Astrology, and a few others that are absolutely amazing. And I continue to do business mentorship with other spiritual brands to get them to understand what a brand identity actually is, how to market effectively, and more importantly, just how to be a heart-centered business owner. So that's the long and short of it.
I love it. I love it. And before I share what you just inspired me to share, I'm going to mute out these lines in case anyone joins us during, so that it doesn't interrupt anybody's flow. All right. Now we are safe.
Cool.
Awesome. So, no, I love what you're doing. And, my question always is, I'm always curious to how people have the kind of the light bulb come on for them. And also want you to explain, because I know some people out there, when they heard me just describe you as professional witch, not everybody understands really what that means or what that entails, and might have the view that we grew up on, like are you flying around like on brooms and things, which I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I didn't see any Instagram stories that showed that, but that'd be awesome if you could. But share with us what that means and what you're up to.
Yeah, so I mean, being a professional witch just simply means that I've made a living off of being a witch, which is who I am. And I know that witch has a negative connotation for some people, or there is that like iconic imagery of like green women stirring stew in a cauldron. However, being a witch really just means that you're leading your life with intention, that you follow nature, that you abide by the elements, and it's really just another moniker for somebody who is spiritual in a certain way. It's no different than any other spiritual sect. It just has a different name, and it is, I don't know, it has a fun culture. I have been a self-identified witch for years and years and years, and have practiced since being a teenager, following down the rabbit hole of the tarot and astrology, and really just using that as markers for my own spiritual development, but also as ways to connect with my community. And in such, I have been reached out to by different brands to represent them, i.e. Cosmopolitan, who asked me to write a book for them entitled Love Spells. And so when I say professional witch, it really just means that I read tarot for a living, I write about witchcraft for a living, I teach people about witchcraft for a living, and it really helps my community.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. And I wanted to ask that question because I know that a lot of people just don't understand a lot of things you just shared. My question for you, and what I love to ask people is, as little kids, when we first come into this physical world, and we come from non-physical, and we're just unconditional, loving little beings, and just like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like what's going on, just excited for the adventure of life. And then for a lot of us, when we get into early childhood and start comparing ourselves to others and asking, are we enough, or are they better than us, or all these things, we forget for a while, and then a lot of us, hopefully will remember while we're here in this physical life experience. I'm curious, like with your journey, and when you discovered that, you were drawn to these things, you had these gifts, like what did that look like for you? As far as, did you just have the light bulb on, like from a baby, like all the way through until now, or did you have to remember at some point?
I love that you asked that question, because it really is, it's a beautiful and very, I don't know, like-minded sentiment. I think we all go through this thing. And unfortunately, I ditched the craft for a really long period in my teenage years because I struggled with mental health issues, and I struggled with a myriad of things. When I was a kid, I was just innately spooky, and I loved witchcraft movies and books, and I read and I wrote all about witchcraft as a child. But then once I got into my teenage years, I got into boys and drugs, as I like to say. And that led me down a rabbit hole where I was comparing to other people. I had lots of depression, lots of anxiety. So fast forward to when I started to build this brand, or when the inception of the idea was even possible. That's when I pulled out my tarot deck again, and I got into therapy to try to turn around those I would say imposed ideas that were on me, because like you said, we come into this world bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I had that characteristic like already within me, but just because of downloaded, or not even downloaded, because of pressures and societal pressures, I moved away from it. So getting my tarot deck back out and just really healing was what led me to create what I have now.
I love it. I love it. It's so interesting how so many of our stories, there was a time where, a challenging part of life, you described it as boys and drugs. I had a time in my life where it wasn't boys, it was girls, and like partying down in college, which there was lots of different substances involved for sure. And I was supposed to be there to play sports, play baseball. And so I was trying to juggle actually the schoolwork, where it's like, you guys are really going to make me take classes? Which they did. Somehow I got out of there with a degree, but I'm not using it at all anymore. But my point is, it's really interesting to me how, as human beings, like we have all these challenges. And I recorded a video earlier where I just want to remind anyone listening that even right now, as we're going through a challenge in humanity, all over the world, these challenges are really what propel us to the journeys that we're on now, and the journeys that will continue to go on as long as that we're here. And they don't have to defeat us. We could use them as fuel and take the lessons and say, ooh, I really don't want to experience any more of that. And for those of us that can take the lessons and this is what I'd like to experience in life, we can really create and go on this fun journey of not having to figure out like how it's all going to unfold, or when, or where, or who, if you want a person in your life, or whatever the case may be. But just knowing that without these challenges and all the experiences, the ups and downs that we've had in life, like we wouldn't be as clear on the direction that we want to go, and we wouldn't be the same human that we are right now. So I love that you highlighted that, and that propelled you into what you're doing now. Mm-hmm. What is your I think I'm gonna probably end up asking this on every podcast while we're going through this, because it's so relevant right now. And but what's your take on what's going on right now? How has things benefited or challenged you, or what's your take on what's going on in humanity right now?
Well, I think one of my biggest takes is the practice of surrender, which we kind of touched on earlier. Radical acceptance. This is happening. We're all in it together. So how do we make lemonade out of lemons? Especially as a person who's a proponent for small business owners and who teaches small business owners how to thrive under pressure. Right now, I'm hinging a lot on adaptation. How do we take our message, and how do we take the service that is so needed for our community, and how do we skew it into helping them and providing for us in the same vein? How do we put food on the table while we also give back to our community? There's a lot of dissenting opinions about people either being productive or not being productive, and like what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And all I'm trying to preach to my community is that you should have self-awareness. What do you want to do and what makes you happy? And then empower yourself to do that. You feel like taking a few days to wallow and be a bit depressed because it's all too much, and that's going to be self-care for you in that moment, then that's what you need to do. But if from a very, when things are great, that wallowing only leads to more depression for you, then it's time to be more productive and to strategize what your routine is going to look like in this quote unquote new normal. There's always a way to make the best of a situation. And as a person who abides by nature, I already see the benefits of people staying inside and factories being shut down. There are clear waters in Venice for the first time. China is seeing clear skies for the first time. And I think that nature needed us to press a big pause button. And I only think that we're going to come back stronger than ever after this. And it's just highlighting where, especially in the US, we have systemic oppression, where things aren't being, where people aren't being represented as much as they should. And I think it was almost like the necessary kick in the ass that it needed. But that's just, my opinion and me trying to look at the silver lining. So, but it's the world we live in.
Absolutely. I love everything you just shared, and you inspired me to share two things. But first, did you mention you're in Venice? You're in LA, California?
No, no, no. That's where I'm from actually originally, but I'm over in Jersey City now, just
Okay.
across from New York City.
At some point in the episode, I had to get where you are on the planet. I would have been a disservice to, like, where is she? Okay, awesome. I used to live close to Venice, like in Playa del Rey, like a little bit south of there. I love that part of the country.
Area, yeah.
Hello, LA, LA peeps. Yes, I'd be curious to know with like smog in LA what it's like, because I've heard that in China as far as smog being. I was over in Hong Kong a couple years ago, and I thought I just got there like a string of cloudy days. They were like, no, it's like this every day. Like that's the pollution from the factories. I'm like, wait, that's blocking the sun. So I was shocked. So what you inspired me to say, and I love what you pointed out, and this has been my message, ongoing while we have less options on the table is like choices that we can make in our lives. Like we don't have all the options that we normally have on the table, which could be an advantage if we can do what Sean just mentioned as far as becoming self-aware of what parts of our life are really important to us right now. What areas do we want to see evolve? What areas do we want to create some momentum in? And if we can ask that question and then have the answer, whatever that is, I've seen lots of people on social media. I'm super excited for you guys that are, focusing on, doing some stuff for their health. Maybe they're eating a little bit differently right now. Maybe they're exercising a little bit differently, even if it is, at home. Or maybe the relationships. Maybe, we haven't been spending the time, whether it be in person or, online or over the phone with people that we really would like to. And right now I'm seeing people that are spending more time with people they care about, tending those relationships, creating some momentum in relationships. Or maybe it's, abundance related, financial, or anything else that matters. And I'm seeing so many people right now take advantage of, just it seems like we all have extra time on our hands because of the things that all of us do in our day-to-day lives that right now we don't have the option to go do. I know I'm not saying anybody should or shouldn't do this. I haven't turned on my TV since they canceled sports. That's like the biggest, like whenever I'm editing a video, you can rest assured that there's a live sporting event on mute. And I just like to glance up and like do different stuff. And probably takes me twice as long to edit videos because of that, but I enjoy it. But there's no sports on the planet. So my TV is just like, this is not on. I don't even know if it's plugged in right now. So it's given me so much time to ask myself, what is it that I'd like to create momentum in the areas of my life? And really it's just adding additional fuel to the things I was already doing, like this podcast and just the different stuff that I have going on. And just doing more of it and being able to connect with more awesome people like you, Sean. So I really love that. I highly recommend everybody out there to be self-aware at all times, not just like in crises, but right now I think is a really great chance to start. Right now is always a great chance to start anything. And, when you have those answers, not having to know right this second, how is it going to work out or when or where, who, like these questions a lot of times make us anxious. And if we could stay off the details and just be like, I'm excited to let this area of life evolve. And I'm excited to see, how that's going to come about. Then you'll get a good idea, or you'll see a synchronicity will bring the answer of life's questions to us. We don't have to like force it before we're ready. Maybe you know the answer right now. Maybe there's something that you knew you could be going in this direction for a long time. Like, okay, now it's time to put some energy and focus into that, and then you'll see manifestation for that. Last thing, and I have a question for you, or you can chime in on any of this stuff. You mentioned, because I know that all of us as human beings will have a lot of compassion for everyone, and I'm not any better or worse, or no one's any better or worse than me. Nobody's, because we're all humans that can feel, blissful, happy, joyful, and also powerless, depressed, angry, and everything in between. Like every single one of us has in our lives at some point, and have the capability of feeling that way at any time, and that's just part of the human experience. I do highly, highly recommend, though, right now, if you do choose to go into like a depressed state, not saying there's anything wrong with it, but just know that in all times that leaves us vulnerable to manifesting things that are a match to that energy. Which is, how do you feel if you get sick? How do you feel if you have a virus? You feel powerless and depressed. You feel worried. You feel anxious. Like that's your frequency. So if you put yourself in that frequency before the illness, you're just putting yourself to where that's what's going to manifest as a match to your frequency. So I'm not saying like to scare anybody out there, but this is just how life works. Like for me, it doesn't matter what's already manifested because it's already manifested, like for whatever reason. So you'll never hear me say, this is why this happened to you. I don't care why. It's already done. It's already created. But for everybody out there watching this, I want us to manifest and create wellness for ourselves. And if that's what you want for yourself as well, just know that you want to be a match to that. So you want to be peaceful, you want to be content, you want to be optimistic that things are working out for you and for others, and do the things that you know to do to keep yourself well. And I'm not saying again it's anything wrong with being depressed or worried or all these things, but just know the longer that you stay there, momentum will pick up to where you're just vulnerable to all this stuff that's going on. And even when this stuff isn't going on, you're vulnerable for illness and disease. If that's a normal part of your life. So I just want to point that out just to make sure everybody is aware of that. Do what you choose out there. Choose. You never hear me say should or shouldn't do anything. Do whatever you choose. I love it.
Yeah, and just to that point, when I use the word depression, I don't mean just being sad. I use it in the actual medical terminology. So especially as somebody who has been diagnosed with general depression, I think it's okay to sit in your feelings is basically more of what I mean. Sitting in your feelings and experiencing any type of grief, because we all are grieving at this moment. We're grieving many, many things. So being able to experience that fully, I think is an important step in healing. But just as you were saying, you don't want to sit in it too long. You don't want to manifest more of it. I think pulling yourself out of that and knowing how to pull yourself out of it is extremely empowering and important because, like you said, you can just, you kind of spiral at that point, and that's what we want to avoid. So yes, definitely feel your feelings, but also know with the self-awareness when it's time to be all right, it's time to stand up and time to do what I need to do.
Absolutely. It's all about self-awareness. I love that because without it, we don't have a choice. And that's the only reason I do anything that I do is to help the awareness, because I just want everybody to choose whatever it is that's most important to them. Again, should and shouldn't doesn't even come out of my mouth. Choose whatever you want, and just be very aware of just momentum though, because energy doesn't just stay stagnant for any of us. If we're focusing on something that has us feeling anxious or worried, focus on that for another 5 minutes, and you'll feel even more anxious and worried. And then you can go, energy is very interesting. It's awesome if we're aware of this, because if we're ever doing anything that we love, that we're enjoying, that we're passionate about, keep putting energy on that and focus on that. And I know that's what you help people do when it comes to business stuff. And I'm going to ask you a question about this in a second. But if you put energy and focus on that and your passion into whatever it is that you're creating that you're drawn to in this world, 7.7 billion of us, and we're all different. So if you just put focus and energy on anything, that's how we physically manifest, in this world. So for people that come to you, Sean, are they from all different, when it comes to the business stuff, different backgrounds, or who do you find yourself normally working with the most? Or are these people that want to start a coaching business, or could be doing anything? What do you normally see?
It's funny, I work with a big range of people. Generally, my demographics are 20s to 30s women, but I've worked with a lot of stay-at-home moms from many different backgrounds, people that are in corporate to people that are serving food, and that are going into either the coaching industry or just they want to expand their kind of PR brand and just general recognition in the spiritual space. I've worked with artists, models, actors. Thing is that I'm just really good at social media and branding, so anyone can benefit from that. And especially now when we're in this new world where everybody, brick and mortar, we have to adapt, now to online spaces. I can help basically anyone in any capacity from a business standpoint with their brand image, with social media reach, and turning it into profit.
I love it. For anybody out there, I highly, highly recommend, and I'm so pro life experience, Sean. Anytime I have a nudge energetically to go experience anything, I know that, not that I'm going to want to keep continuously experiencing that thing forever, but I know there's something there in that life experience that is going to give me clarity as far as I like this, I don't like this, I want to experience this more, I don't want to experience this more, whatever it is. So I say that to say, as you guys are listening to Sean share, whether you guys are on here live or watching this when it's released, you have any urge to see what she does as far as helping people with branding or social media or business, highly recommend you follow her on social media, do these things, because there's something there that this is what I've learned about life. I act really, really quick off of inspiration because I know where it's coming from. I'm so open to it, like a little kid, how little kids are just adventurous, looking around and they're ready to play with a stick or a leaf or just anything, like a human, they're just ready. So if we can be like that and just know the questions that we've asked the universe as far as how our life can improve in whatever area that's important to us, and then be expecting answers to show up in various ways, then we could take lots of little nudges and little energetic nudges towards life experiences that will give us the clarity and put us on the path towards everything that we want in our lives. So just inspired to share that with you, and highly recommend you guys connecting with Sean.
Well, we call in manifestation, we call that inspired action. Those are divine downloads coming to you saying like, oh, you like that? Go, follow it, follow it, follow it. And honestly, I encourage that with all of my clients, especially when they're starting to create new programs or new art or new, just any kind of creative endeavor. I'm like, follow it. Like, you got that idea and that push for a reason. And that's where the magic comes into business, when coming from more of like a feminine, heart-centered, magical, rather than like, hierarchical, capitalist-driven form of business, we get to follow these nudges. And that's why the motivation is just, it becomes so much more divine.
Absolutely. I love it. It's so much fun living life this way. Like literally, so I was recording these podcasts live a few months ago, and they started doing construction on my building, and it was too sporadic. I couldn't trust that it was going to be quiet, and I didn't want you guys listening live to like go through that. Like, I can mute myself quick. I'm quick on the mute button to where when you're talking, you wouldn't have heard it, but they might hear it a little bit from me. So I was just like, let me just chill on the lives. And then I talked to a guest that I'm going to have on the podcast on Friday, like 24 hours ago. And she said, can we stream this live? And I was like, you know what? I used to do that a lot. Like, I want to do that again. I'm super inspired. So it was really great timing. And so within like minutes, I was like messaging all of you guys, Sean, you included, that I had already had podcast set up with for the next few days, and asking, were you guys cool with me doing it live? All of you said, of course. And now ongoing, everybody that I've invited to do them in the coming weeks, that's a part of the invitation. Like, hey, I'm going to do this live if you're cool with that. So just we can quickly like be inspired and be like, ooh, let's act on this, because there's something there. There's someone listening to this right now, and I can't see you guys' comments on Facebook or YouTube, or this is even streaming on Periscope right now. Who uses Periscope still? But if you guys want to connect on any of these like right now and ask questions, there's a link on all those. You can click it and it'll send you where we are. You can come on the Zoom and ask questions. I'm just going to take the questions from here if anybody wants to join for this one or ongoing. We're doing a lot of these. So question for you, Sean, and you've been doing this the whole time, and I'm always curious how people share, because as far as we know, the internet is going to outlive probably all of us. Like, it's going to live for a while. It's looking this way, looking like it's pretty popular around the world right now. And so, question that I always have, whether someone watches this episode or listens to this episode right when it's released, or they're on live, or 100 years from now, whenever it is they're attracted to this, what would you like to share with humanity that whenever they hear this, you feel it will make a positive impact on their lives? And you've been doing it the whole time. It could be literally anything.
Well, I think it's something that that I got from what you just said, the inspired action and turning it around quick. Because when we turn things around quick from inspired action, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be a little bit messy, and we're going to have to work with curveballs and troubleshoot, right? And that's the beauty of it. That is the power of doing things quickly. That's the power of being human. And I think a lot of the time in any type of business or just regular like meeting people and just the human design, there's such a fear of not doing anything because you want it to be perfect. You want it to be the thing that you showcase to the world, and it represents you in so many ways. But I think the thing that I want to share with people is, here's your permission slip to be messy. Follow your heart, follow these divine downloads. Do you think my first podcast or like the bottom of my Instagram feed was perfectly curated? Absolutely not. But I did it, and it evolved, and now I'm here. And that's just part of the human journey. And literally, like, anybody that is sitting here listening to this right now, you can think of one thing that you just did, and now you've been doing it for a while, and now you're much better at it. Whatever that metaphor is for you, think of that thing and apply it to the thing that you want to do and that you're too scared to do, because you've already proven to yourself that you can do it. So regardless of messy and regardless of quick, just do the thing, because it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done.
I love that. Such good advice. And Sean, do you find that there's things that you did? I already know the answer to this because this is the answer for all of us, but I'm just curious what your take is on this. There was things that you were doing at the beginning of your Instagram feed, or 5 years ago, or whatever amount of time, where you're like, oh, that didn't really work out that well, or maybe we even called that might have been a failure, or that didn't, that just wasn't how I thought it was going to go. But now, 5 years later, you're like, dang, I'm using so many things from those experiences, those life experiences that I thought were like waste, but I'm still using all of these life experiences. Does that resonate?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have so many things that I've scrapped, and I don't necessarily call them failures. They are things that I tried, and like you said, there's always tokens you can take from the quote unquote failures. And anybody that hasn't failed is boring. Like you need to have those trials and those tribulations to build character and to learn from. They make you special. They make you unique. And I always keep my Instagram feed 100. Like you can scroll all the way down to the very first post of Witchy Wisdoms about 4 years ago, and it's raw, it's authentic, and it's things that I tried to do. Like I was never on camera like this before. In fact, I was terrified of public speaking, and I couldn't say the word or like more times in a row, but I did them. And listening to them and practicing and getting back out in front of things. It really strengthened me. So yeah, like I can't pinpoint things that I still use because there's just so many. It's a collection of so many takeaways that I've just adapted to the new things that I do.
I love it. Sean is highlighting the value again of life experience, and when you do take those inspired actions, just producing more life experience. And so, I want to give some advice to the audience that I'm really inspired to give, and this makes life so much easier and so much more fun and so much more adventurous. It's just to know, when we're on our path. So say we have these things that we want to be, or that we want to do, or that we want to have in our lives, and so those are our visions that we have, our dreams, our goals, whatever you want to call them. And so now we have like the first like inspired action, like the first step. So many of us want to go from point A to point Z, in just like a day, but not really how life works for any of us. And truth be told, when we get to point Z, we'll be on point A still again because it's always right now. So we'll have a new like Z that we want to get to. So if we can just think of life as like one eternal moment of point A, because it's what it always is, that's all we ever have is the moment right now. Then the question becomes, how effective can I be right now? And for all of us, just because there's no like special breed of humans. So everything that I'm sharing right now applies to every one of the humans that are watching this live and that will ever watch this. But because all of us can feel, energy, and we are energy in the moment, we're some frequency that in 2020 and beyond can be measured. I've been to events now that have EEG brain scanners that show me my present moment energy and frequency when I'm feeling sad or when I'm feeling victorious. It's really interesting to see. But this is all of us. So we can all feel, we'll just label it with words, happy, joyful, blissful, like we said, powerless, depressed, angry, rage, and everything in between, like every single one of us. So the key is just knowing, like right now in this moment, point A, what frequency am I on? And if I'm on a frequency where I'm peaceful, I'm chilling, maybe I'm not blissed out right now, but I'm also not feeling the worst that I've ever felt in my life either. But I'm just somewhere, I'm chilling, I'm content, I'm peaceful. In that place, and anything that has a stronger momentum than that, we're a match to awesome ideas, for one, because that's when the good ideas, like, ooh, that's a really good idea. That's when we're a match to when we're in at least peace, calm, happy, joyful, passionate, excited, whatever it is, loving. And also the synchronicities just that can happen. Maybe it's meeting someone or YouTube just serving you up just the perfect answer to your question, a video that you needed to see. It's happened so many times for me. Be in the shower and then like, who's that awesome human that is sharing, those things that I asked questions about, recently. And so just know that when we're connected, in these moments, that's when we're really on our path to all of those things that, we look at as like Z. Like maybe it seems like it's super far away, but it's really not, because if we can just, again, be as effective as we can be, and for all of us, it's just a matter of right now, what's our energy, what's our vibe. Just know when we're frustrated, when we're worried, when we're anxious, we're just, off the path for right now. Not forever. Like you're still, everything that we want to be, do, and have is still like waiting for us to like come, it's still pulling us to it when we're connected. But we're not, we're just off a little bit. And that's more life experience, which actually are serving us also, which we can appreciate. And that's my best, advice to anyone. If we can get to the point where we can appreciate all the life experience, even the most challenging parts, because we think that we would just eliminate the challenging parts. And I think a lot of people think that. And there's a time where I'm like, oh, I would get rid of this, this, and this in my life, different traumas that we've had. But in truth, if I got rid of those, then now I'm getting rid of who I am, the lessons that I've learned. I have to get rid of those as well. So now I have to like relearn those lessons if I'm going to be the human that I am now, going in the direction that I'm going. And same for all of you out there. So my best advice is just, control. The only thing that any of us can control is What's my vibe, frequency, energy, mood right here in this moment? Don't demand of yourself that you're blissed out. Also, be aware if you're feeling like crap, and if that's what you want to choose to continue feeling that way. It's just really a choice, and it's never the thing. It's not the virus or anything else. It's never the thing. It's our response to the thing. It's how our story we're telling about the thing. Our thoughts and ideas about the thing is what's causing our energy to be what it is in this moment. So never put the power on any other person. You're blaming someone for anything. Hey, that's a mirror. Like that's some things, some unresolved things for you. But if you're pointing out anything, you're giving all your power to the thing, and it's just not true. It's just how you're describing it or your story about it. Just said so many things in different directions. I thought I had 2 things that you inspired, and that was like 12. But I had to share it.
I love it. And it actually just made me think of a small anecdote that I had with a client who was just so frustrated with technology. She hated it. And that's what she kept saying. She kept saying, I hate technology. I hate it. I hate using Facebook groups. I hate it. And that word is so powerful. And I was like, all right, sweetheart, we got to first of all, we need to unpack why it is and why you're giving the power to technology. And then number 2, we need to reframe this in gratitude because technology is connecting you with the people that you can help the most. So how do we take the power back? How do we reframe this situation? How do we express gratitude for our challenges? And how do we breathe through this? Because you're right. Like if you give all the power away or if you stay in that negative headspace, like you're containing yourself. And once we did the work that we needed to do and she started unpacking why it was such a problem area for her, and then she started to, like, every time she approached her computer, I had her just say thank you and talk to it and create a relationship with it. She signed 2 clients in a week.
Awesome.
Like you become an energetic match for things when you really just reframe. Sometimes it takes having a coach. Sometimes you can do it yourself with self-awareness, but it's very, very true, everything you said.
I love it. I love it. I see a lot of stories out there about I hate technology, and I love how you just described that. And guys, anything, like literally any question that you have, there's this thing called Google and this thing called YouTube. Like, try it out. Like literally everything that I've created over the past 5 years, everything that I've done, it started with a Google search or a YouTube search. And I'm like, oh, there's a video about the exact thing that I just started the sentence with, how can I? And there's a video there that I could just put on either my phone and then go on the computer and do everything that they tell me. Oh, do that, pause, do that. I've literally created websites this way. So
knowledge is power, and we are all so empowered right now because we have a supercomputer that fits in our hand. You can Google anything. You really can. And it's amazing to me how many people bypass the sheer magnitude of what that creates for us, what kind of power that gives us. And they just would rather just completely ignore it. So, I challenge you to empower yourself. Google things, like get into it, especially now that you have the time. Go down the rabbit holes. On my Instagram page, I do this segment called Transcendence Tuesday where we flip over cards and people have to choose their oracle card for the week. And then we flip over the card and that's the message that they get to carry with through the week and kind of unpack and see how that relates to their life. And recently, a lot of people were confused by some of the messages that said, explore or be spontaneous, because they're like, well, how do we do this? Because we're in quarantine. What do we do? And you can do that online. You can adapt that to your current situation in whatever way you see fit. It just takes being creative. It takes being resourceful and a Google search. I love the internet and I love technology.
Me too. I'm so appreciative to be alive in 2020, to be able to connect with you guys, and just like the message that I sent, voice message to Sean to invite her to this, like not too long ago, I would have had to send like a donkey or pony to like deliver a handwritten message to her. Like, I mean, look at the technology we have. Just like instantly, I know I went super extreme. Like, obviously, my lifetime wasn't Pony Express, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, look what we can do. Like, I could be on a live stream, no delay, with someone in anywhere on the planet. I mean, it's just awesome. So, yes, change the story from just watch the stories you're sharing in general. But if you have a story about technology, let's just change it to, I'm evolving more and more in technology every day. Like, my technology skills are evolving more every day. And just, you can create that story about anything and then just let it evolve. Like, don't have to, no one's asking you to go like code a website from scratch with like no instruction manual. Don't even need to do that anymore. Like, are people even coding anymore? Sure they are. Like, sorry coders. I'm not the one to speak on this. but I can create things and I don't need to know how to do that. So I'm just saying for anybody out there, just watch the stories you're telling. What would you like to promote or share with the audience that you're excited about right now? Like, I love asking people what they're excited about. You know, at the time of the recording, we're here in 3/4 through March, and I know people have adapted what they feel like they can plan and schedule and things with what's going on. But you're online and doing a bunch of stuff, so curious for you. What are you excited about?
Yeah, I have a lot going on. I'm actually just about to reopen my one-on-one mentorship, which fills up really quickly. So, business owners, if you are watching this and you feel inspired to, reach out to me on Instagram because I'm about to reopen that. I also have a retreat that I'm hosting, hopefully post coronavirus. You know, everything kind of just works itself out because it is in August, in the beginning of August. But it's called the Witches Retreat, and I'm having some incredible people come speak, and we're all going to be in New Orleans doing cool witchy stuff, and it's just going to be literally the thing we all need, I think. Between that and all of the courses that I have online right now, there's so many ways to work with me and connect with me, and really, I think the thing that I'm most inspired to share is just my Instagram and being online and connecting with my community. Every single day I've been coming up with new ideas of ways to like share and empower people because I do understand that this is a really rough time. And we all need to do our best to support each other and just be there for each other, give outlets, be artistic, be creative. And that is my mission literally forever with my platform, but more so now than ever.
I love it. I love it. Yes, it's definitely needed now. Anything uplifting we can do for each other. And again, if you're attracted to anything that Sean shared in this, whether you're watching this live right now or when it's actually released, definitely act on that inspiration. We've been talking a lot about inspired action, and there's definitely some life experience, some clarity there for you that will benefit you ongoing. So I love that. And last thing I want to share with the audience, and anything else you're inspired to share, please go for it, Sean. Is right now, like regardless of what we're doing, whether you're someone out there that's a coach or in the business of helping people or whatever it is that you do, like it doesn't matter. Like the best way that any of us can help anyone right now is through our example. So if you can be the light, if you can be that person that is maintaining your frequency, your vibe, like your good mood, your optimism, your being at peace. Again, I'm not demanding of myself or anyone ever to be like blissed out. You can be there though, like just because of what the circumstance right now. All that in these energies, like what we call like bliss and euphoria, nirvana, ecstasy, all these, we don't really have English words that label energy stronger. But little side note, little trick to how to get to these energies. Anytime you find yourself doing anything that you enjoy, whatever it is, like whatever it is, if you just keep totally present to that activity and allow momentum to carry you, like momentum will take you from peaceful, content to, ooh, that was a really good idea. Now you're doing a Google search and like, oh my gosh, like this is now you're excited. And now you're doing something that you're really drawn to. So now you're passionate. And now that passion is going up to where it's like, damn, I'm having so much fun doing this. And just a second ago, you were just chilling, you were at peace. You didn't really know what you wanted to do with your time. But where you weren't was frustrated or blaming or depressed or, again, nothing wrong with those, but these aren't typically the ideas that the really awesome ideas come into our mind. We're matched to more frustrating ideas and more worried ideas, and that's a part of the human experience too. So all these frequencies are reachable, for all of us in both directions. I'm just rooting for everybody out there to, be the light for the people that are around them and for yourself, more importantly, so that you can, feel good yourself, but also people can be inspired by how you're choosing to be right now in a pretty challenging time in the world. And as a result, that can ripple out to where you can inspire someone and they can inspire someone. And, we could just all, we're all in this together. We're all connected. We're all one big global community called humanity. And I'm happy to be a part of it with all of you guys, all 7.7 billion of you out there. You're awesome, and I'm rooting for you. And so that's all I have to say, unless Sean inspires me to say more things right now. But anything else that you have to add before we go?
I just want everyone to take care of themselves in whatever way that means for them. Self-care is really important right now. So do what you can, and yeah, lean into that excitement. Honestly, I was labeled the witchy Gary V the other day because I've been touting the importance of TikTok and how fun it is and how quick you can scale on it. And I learned my first TikTok dance, and I don't think I've ever been more blissed out than just my mind, my body were totally focused on learning this one dance. Like, I'm smiling now. Yeah, it was the most, so I highly recommend that if anybody needs just like a distraction to get to blissed out level, try it. It was really fun.
TikTok is a good distraction for sure. I'm on TikTok because of Gary Vee as well, and I like some functionality of TikTok that Instagram and Facebook does not have when it comes to creating stories. Like for instance, you can play music over things and still keep the original sound of your video. That's not a possibility on Instagram. If you put music on your stuff, it like wipes out the sound. So just that little thing, I'm like, ooh, this is fun for me to play with. So now I get to do different videos, and I haven't got to the dancing part yet. Maybe, who knows? I won't. Everything's possibility. But yes, you can go viral pretty quick on TikTok. So interesting place. Definitely, if you're inspired, like download it, do it. Like, and again, it could be a good use of raising your frequency, and there's some entertaining stuff on there. I love it. Well, I appreciate you, Sean. This has been really, really fun, and I'm excited to see what you choose to flow your energy into now. And now that I know that you exist on the planet, and vice versa, this would be the first, but not the last collaboration. I'm excited to see where life evolves, and just appreciate you coming on and sharing your love and light with the audience. And you're awesome, and everybody out there, you guys are awesome as well. But definitely, you guys share this episode when it's out, or you can even share it now if you're watching this live. You could share it through social media. Don't make people wait for this to come out. The actual episode, I think, will be out maybe in a week and a half to 2 weeks, something like that. I'm recording a bunch of these, so you guys will hear about it. And but you guys that are tuned on live, you don't have to wait for that. You've already got it. Nothing will change. I won't add anything into it. So, and I really won't take anything out. So, well, appreciate you, Sean, and thank you for sharing your love and light with us. You're awesome. And you guys out there, thank you. I appreciate you, and sending you guys tons of positive vibes. Have an amazing day whenever you hear this, whether it's right now, when it's released, or 100 years from now. Love and appreciate you all. Awesome. That was fun. That was a fun
conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're awesome. Hold on, let me stop the stream, and I'll say bye to you officially. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in live.